Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be comparing the 300 RUM and the new and popular 7 PRC, and we're going to talk about why, in my opinion, the 300 Remington Ultra Mag is the better hunting cartridge. I want to start this comparison off by saying that I do not own any 7mm cartridges, and I've never shot a 7 PRC. So back in February, Backfire released an article with the most popular rifle cartridges in 2026. So, ammo sales, 7 PRCs in there, top 5. Google search volume, 7 PRC. I didn't make the favorite hunting cartridges, maybe because it's a newer cartridge, came out in 2022. Most common bolt action chamberings, 7 PRC, and most popular custom rifle, 7 PRC, came in at number 1. Taking a look at Hornady's new reloading manual with the 160 grain CX, they're saying you can get 3,050 feet per second. That is in a 24-inch barrel. Factory specs for the 7 PRC 160 LRX from Barnes is also muzzle velocity of 3,050 feet per second. If you hand load for the 7 PRC with the 160 grain LRX, you are able to get about 100 feet per second extra velocity out of it. Reloading Weatherby, he's got an awesome video on the 160 LRX, and then Tim over at Little Crow Gunworks also has a really good review of the factory 167 PRC LRX load. So why would I compare these two cartridges, and why am I saying that the 300 RUM is a better choice for hunting? Well, we'll take a look at the ballistic coefficient and velocities. The 7 PRC has a ballistic coefficient of a G1 of 608. The 300 RUM is very similar at 633. Now, my average velocity was probably 3,000 or 3,050 feet per second, which the 7 PRC factory load is on the box is 3,050. Now you can hand load this hotter. Same with 300 RUM. I've got up to 31 and a bit. You can do the same thing with a 7 PRC. So we have similar ballistic coefficients and similar velocities. So the only difference is going to be your energy downrange, but our trajectories all the way out to 1,000 are very similar. If we're looking at the 300 RUM with the 208 grain, 221 inches of drop, and the 7 PRC 160 is 226 inches of drop. Windage, also very similar, at 1,000 yards, 51.7 versus 54.6. So the biggest difference for hunting is your energy. I would never shoot past 400 yards hunting. even then, you got to be pretty dialed in, I think, and well practiced up. But 2,200 foot-pounds energy for the 7 PRC at 400 yards. 300 RUM, we're looking at 2,900, so quite a bit more. 700 foot-pounds, and then at 1,000, we're down to 1,500 foot-pounds of energy versus 1,100. First two shots at the lowest charge, just to check my zero, adjusted for that. Walk down range, let the barrel cool off, and then we're going to continue working our way up to pressure. So I'm going to be doing 3-shot groups, keeping track of our velocity, and then I'll let the barrel cool in between each one. 26-inch barrel, Remington 700, and we've got our Garmin 0 for our velocities. So I think what I'm going to do is find a charge weight that this powder bullet combo likes the most, and then find somewhere where I can shoot out a little bit further, try and get out to 400 yards for hunting, and then find a good range. Hopefully we can even stretch it out further than that. But right now we're just going to see how tight we can get this to shoot. Just for reference here, there's some 300 Win Mag brass left over. Alright, so I'm about halfway through the ladder test. No pressure signs yet, which is to be expected. I've got my ceiling at 65,000 psi, according to Gordon's reloading tool. However, the max pressure velocity on Gordon's, I'm already exceeding that, and I'm only about halfway there working up the charges. So I don't know, we'll keep an eye on pressure signs, and then I think we're going to stomp the predicted velocity by maybe 100 feet per second or so. Alright, last 3-shot group here at the max charge. Starting to get rain down here pretty good, so 31-24. Grass is still looking fine. No pressure signs. $30.91. $30.68. Last two groups both opened up quite a bit. Here are some of the velocities I was able to get with a 26-inch barrel in the 208 grain LRX. Max velocity of 31.24. Slowest we had was 29.60. We are using ADG brass for this load development, Federal 215 primers and N570, which looks like grains of rice going into your case when you load it up. So this is the first time I've ever done a ladder test, and I'm going off of what I've learned from Tim over at Little Crow Gunworks and Pragmatic Precision on Patreon. Now that we have our once fired brass, I'm going to be resizing and depriming. We're going to bump the shoulder back 3/1000. Check that it does chamber smoothly, just the brass. And then we are going to ream and uniform our primer pockets. And then we will bevel and uniform our flash holes. Now, is this going to make a difference in a factory Remington 700? Probably not, but I'm going to do my best to make these as consistent as possible. I'm going to measure all the brass and take the shortest overall length and trim them all to make them the same length for consistency. And then hopefully, now that this has been fire formed, the brass is going to have some memory to the chamber. So hopefully this extreme spread will come down. Having said that, I'm not too concerned about how wide my groups are at this point in time. We still can do more charge testing and then play around with seating depth. Also, the windage is not as important as the height of my groups are at 100 yards, because these are going to translate out further range a lot more than the windage will, because the wind's going to blow no matter what, and my wind call is going to be very important further out, and my hold based on that, or my adjustment. We're looking at our average points of impact for the groups. We want consistency there. And I also want to be in a window where I have maybe 3 or 4 charges that have that same point of impact, because if I do load development now in the summertime and it's colder during hunting season, it may shoot over here even though I'm at this charge weight, because your charge weight, pressure, and your temperature are all the same thing. So your temperature is going to change your pressure, your charge weight will change your pressure. So yeah, this is what I've got for my first test. And once I got up to my max pressure, which according to Gordon's reloading tool, was 65,000 PSI, I noticed right away that this group opened up. Even the 93.5 opened up quite a bit. You can see about a 3-inch group there at 100 yards. And the extreme spreads were okay. I'd like to get it under 50. I've got a couple. This one was a 2-shot group. Can't really count it. My chronograph didn't pick up all 3 shots here or here. First group started out good, and then I adjusted my 0, which disregards this from the whole test, because now the average point of impact is off. But I do know I shot these 2. I came over 2 MOA and down, so it's roughly in here. So I do like to see the average point of impact with these 3 lower charges. roughly the same area at 93. So I'm gonna retest 92.5, 93 as our elevation is pretty good. Our extreme spread is pretty similar. Then I might try these three again as well, with the point of impact being, the average point of impact being in the same area. I wanted to do one more quick shout out to Scott over at Quarter Minute Magnums, as he's got some really good stuff on here, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can through this guy as well. He has a really good series on 338 Lopwa with the advanced reloading lessons on here. So if you haven't already, check those out. I wanted to conclude by saying that I do think the 7PRC is an awesome cartridge. And I think the 300 RUM is an even more awesome cartridge, especially for elk hunting or just hunting in general. Let me know down below if you guys have a 7PRC or another 7mm cartridge, or if you have a big 30 cal Magnum. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and let me know what your go-to hunting cartridge is, and if you want to even throw what bullet you guys like to use.